Hey, what's up? I'm Channel Pup, fanboy, supervillain. And today we've got just a quick one. It's all about Boom Shadow and his origins, which never made it to the screen. But if you've ever been curious as to how Boom Shadow came to be, this video might just have the answer for you. Subscribe, patron, the link is in the description. I appreciate it hugely, thank you. So Sonic Boom. It was very different to the main canon Sonic universe. Drastically reworked characters with drastically reworked personalities with kinda drastically reworked designs. And Shadow was no exception. Shadow in Sonic Boom is different to the Shadow that we know and love from the main timeline. He wasn't born aboard the Space Colony arc, he wasn't created by Gerald Robotnik, he isn't part Black Arms alien, he isn't the ultimate life form, he hasn't gone on countless journeys of self-discovery, and he hasn't witnessed a child get murdered before his very eyes. Shadow in Sonic Boom is just a straight-up friendless bully. And on paper, that should make this version of Shadow utterly inferior. After all, he's barely recognizable as the same character. Yeah, sure, Shadow is introverted and stoic in the main series, but he's not petty or antagonistic. He's just someone who likes to be left alone and will spring into action to protect the world and all of its people by any means necessary, even if his methods have to be a little more cruel and unusual than anything Sonic would ever be willing to do, which allegedly causes him and Sonic to butt heads from time to time, although we've never actually really seen that in the games. Post-Heroes, these dudes are almost always on the same page. The only times they ever really have butted heads is over like kart racing or some bullshit. Unless you count Shadow's depiction in the IDW comics, which is very inconsistently written for how little he actually appears. Look, Shadow's characterization isn't always exactly brilliant. Shadow's characterization, to me, is at its worst when he's treated as this overly antagonistic and bitter guy, as if he hasn't overcome the trauma of living so much of his life among man-made horrors beyond our comprehension. Yet Boom Shadow is exactly that. An aggressive, angry little guy that can muster up beef with just about anyone and everyone. But because he has no relevant backstory, I honestly think this version of the character works. There's a lot of entertainment to be had with scumbag bully Shadow when these behaviors don't contradict all the pain and trauma the guy has overcome. We don't know what this guy's been through. All we know is that Dr. Eggman loves him, he can whoop Sonic's ass, and he's oddly passionate about upholding the reputation of Hedgehog kind. He'd also prefer to do things on his own terms, but never really does. But what if I told you that a backstory for this version of Shadow does exist? And I want to thank BritBox777 for cluing me in about this. Over on one of the Bumblecast episodes, Ian Flynn allegedly revealed that he pushed for a unique new origin story for Sonic Boom's version of Shadow. Now I'm going to come clean and say, there are many episodes of Bumblecast, which are all around an hour or so long, so I'll tell you the truth, I haven't actually verified this myself. So I'm just kind of taking BritBox777's word for it, and hopefully there'll be no crossed wires. However, Ian Flynn did work on the Sonic Boom TV series, having penned a few episodes, so it does sound about right. Now I'm going to need you to take a quick look at the duration of this video and lower your expectations real quick, because this is not going to match the biblical length of the game canon, and it's all the better for it. Anyway, it goes like this. Buckle in, folks. At long last, the origin story of Boom Shadow. Shadow was once a happy little surfer bro, with his beloved surfboard which he named Maria, which he had great sentimental attachment to. But one day while surfing, Maria was swept up by a gnarly wave, never to be seen again. Now Shadow walks alone, angry at the world. And that's it. That's Shadow's origin story in the Boom universe. Or well, the story that Ian Flynn wanted Shadow to have. But honestly, I couldn't think of a more perfect origin story for Shadow in Sonic Boom. That is hilarious. For one, Sonic Boom always kind of worked much more as this parody of Sonic and that universe than it did as just a Sonic show on paper. Kind of like, say, Seinfeld with a Sonic skin. It was full of referential humor to the Sonic franchise at large, and this would have fit right in with the likes of the Tomatopotamus video game series in the Sonic Boom series. Suitably for Sonic Boom, this origin story for Shadow is really, really funny. The idea that Shadow was once a surfer dude, and because his beloved board was swept up by the sea, he's just held on to that anger to this day, that's really, really funny. I like to think this happened many years ago, maybe in the 70s or something, and he's still angry about it. He's just a grumpy fella because he lost his board, and you know what? Fair enough. There's less for him to overcome here, so it's kind of okay that he remains as just this grumpy, friendless, angry dude. It lines up perfectly with this version of Shadow. I also remember when Sonic Boom was just starting up, before Shadow had been revealed, fans made their own depictions of a Boom Shadow with a Hawaiian twist. Maybe Ian Flynn was inspired by these fan creations. Either way, because there's nothing in Sonic Boom that actively contradicts this or states his origins otherwise, you might as well be free to consider this canon. I certainly do. I think what I love about Sonic Boom though is that on paper, it is not what I would want Sonic to be. Ditching Shadow's origins, making him a bully, and Christ, how they took Knuckles, the noble yet gullible guardian of Angel Island, and turned him into a simple-minded meathead. I should hate this damn show for what it did to my beloved Sonic characters. But in the hands of such talented writers, it ended up being so genuinely funny that I think on that basis, on its own 2 feet, it works really well. It's why Sonic Boom remains one of my favorite Sonic TV shows, and I strongly recommend you put your reservations at the door and check it out. It'll probably give you at least a chuckle or two. These aren't your larger-than-life Sonic adventures spanning across universes and time and space. It's a sitcom series about the more mundane adventures of Sonic and his pals. But it works because it succeeds at being that. Who would have thought that the secret to a good sitcom take on Sonic and his world would be for it to actually be funny? Take notes, Paramount. I will never be done with that dead horse. Alright, well anyway, that's the end of today's video. I know it was just kind of a quick one. I am trying to get content out there a bit more regularly now because I have noticed that it's kind of been like one video a week for quite a while. And as it is, like, my job search is not exactly bearing fruit right now. It's amazing how difficult it is to get even an entry-level job these days. But I guess when since 2022 the only work experience you have written down is YouTube stuff, not every employer is going to be super open-minded to that. So, whatever. At least I have the option of getting content out there a little bit more regularly, and I'll try and at least make it interesting. What do you think of Sonic Boom and its take on Shadow? What do you think of Ian Flynn's proposed origin story for the character? Comment below, discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to support more like it, be sure to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below is the link to my Patreon page, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get your name in the credits of these videos, with a special shout out going to the patrons in the $5 and above tier. We have Cho Henshin, KB, RT0, CalX, Hypes, Sad Goku, Dare Denny, SSS06, Kale Bennett, Ken K, Mr. SP, Cirrus the Skeptic, Biotin, oh no, I've used up all of the helium, what am I meant to do now? And Vera Wild. Thank you folks so much for your generosity, and to those of you at home, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Now get out of here.